Hello. Okay, so this is the final. Well, it's not final, but this is like the transmission is done, the differential is done. I made a rack and pinion system. I put it all on a little car. It looks like a mousetrap car, but that's for a specific reason. So I'm gonna go through everything. I'm gonna start with the changes. So as you can see, we have 3 different models. This was the first one, and this is you can see this in my last video. This I just gave up on it because it's really buggy, and you don't get a lot of traction, or sorry, you don't get a lot of torque and traction, I guess you could say, out of these wheels. They just don't work quite well. They don't. You can't get much force out of them. So then I just switched everything to gears. And what I said I was going to do is also, it's really hard to see, but there is an output shaft and an input shaft and an output shaft. It's just they're like invisible because I made them. I turned it into a material called force field, and I think that's the lightest material. I think it's light. That's why I did it, to make everything lighter. So everything, I'm trying to optimize everything at this point because I was just was fixing everything up. Anyways, I said I was going to make the input shaft move instead of the output shaft, and I did that. I tried it. There was actually 4 of these transmissions, but then I deleted it because it wasn't going anywhere. Because same problem that this thing had. The problem was there was no way to anchor it in place, if that makes sense. There was no you know what, I just realized on this new car I could probably do that, but the problem was that the only way that this connects, again, there are not ball bearings in this game, so I needed a motor. I needed like a little hinge to connect to the shaft. The shaft can only be free on one side. So if I tried to make it so that way it pushed off, I couldn't connect it to a motor anymore. I could either do that and put it on a suspension, or it would have to be freestanding, and I couldn't do that without ball bearings. That would be really buggy. I actually did make something of a ball bearing over here, but I'll talk about that later. Anyways, so then I had to go with this option. I had to put a suspension so that way I could like squish the shaft, but keep it connected, keep it rotating. And the problem was the suspension put too much force back on the pistons. It was the same fate as this thing. I just kind of overlooked it. I thought maybe I could fix it. I could not. So anyways, I got rid of that. And now what I'm doing is it's something similar to over here, but I realized I only needed 1 gear to be big, but this one, I kept this one small so that way there's not a lot of force on the output shaft, and like not a lot of, yeah, I want as little force needed to turn this output shaft. There's already kind of a lot on it through just friction and the bugginess of this game. So anyways, this gear slides down this and turns this big gear. This is 1-to-1, by the way. So the no difference in gear ratio. So that way I can just transfer it to a new shaft. And so through all this, I just realized, by the way, that this was actually 3rd gear. This big gear turns a little over gear and covers more distance. And yeah, this is 3rd gear. I actually had it the wrong way around the whole time. And then this blue to green right here would be 1st gear. Surprise, surprise, 3rd gear actually doesn't work because this game, I cannot put any more force, I can't get any more force from the engine, or rather the input shaft, without bugging the game out. So it's only a 2-speed. It's got 3 speeds, but only 2 speeds really do much. Anyways, yeah. So beyond all that, that's how the input shaft and output shaft works. The clutch works the same. I actually, in this future version, I ditched it because it was wasting our power, but I'll talk about that. And then I drove another shaft, which goes to our differential. I made a differential. And now I realized the problem, much like I was going to have the input shaft move, I needed a way to kind of keep this shaft in place without mounting it on either side. Because I'm going to have a wheel there, right? Like I can't mount the wheel to my car. I need the wheels to be spinning, but I need both sides of the shaft to be spinning. So how am I going to keep it there, without it moving and like escaping? So I had to create kind of a ball bearing. It's more like just metal on metal because I can't create something that intricate. But anyways, it just kind of traps this shaft in there, the drive shaft into the differential like location. So nothing moves. And then this is it. Like this is the differential into the drive shaft. And boom shakalaka. This thing does work. I don't want to spoil the big car, but this thing works. I don't have any steering on this, so anyways, engage the clutch and then spin. But you see it's like really buggy. That's because of the clutch. It just doesn't like, I can't get any more power out of it without it bugging the freak out. It hates it. It does not like it at all. Oh, hi there, bud. Oh, that just was a big spoiler. So that's why I went onto this thing. What the heck is this guy saying? So anyways, that's why I moved on to this thing. This thing has no clutch, but it's okay because this is Roblox and the gears don't get stripped or anything. The gears are indestructible, so it's okay. I don't really even need a clutch, but it is sad to see it go because this clutch was like, it was pretty freaking cool. I'm not gonna lie, this was pretty cool, especially on here when everything ran so smooth. It was really nice to see. But yeah, I just couldn't get the clutch to stay pressed up strong enough and without bugging like out. Like it could not transfer enough force. There's just so many bottlenecks on this thing that I keep on having to fix. So then this is our input shaft, as this, just the same as over there, and this is the output shaft. And you'll notice there's no more frame. Everything's kind of just strung together. There's no frame to this. It's just under this big old platform, and I call it a car. And back here, the differential, I made it a whole lot beefier and a lot more confined because my differential kept on running away, if you'll call it. It kept on just flying off into the sunset. My drive shaft with my wheels attached, like everything was just like teleporting out of my little casing. So it's nice and confined. And then again, how I wanted to keep force off that outer shaft, like I wanted to keep everything, because with each gear there is more loss. There's more loss of energy every gear that I add. So I had to keep these wheels low on weight, but I wanted a lot of traction because this thing was already struggling enough as it was. I couldn't have another bottleneck, and the wheels still kind of are a bottleneck. But so I went with these hollow wheels. It's just a big disc, right? Not a lot of weight on this disc, but then I got a hollow wheel, and I wish I could make them more thin. But yeah, so it's all rubber and it's like really wide. And you notice that's why these wheels are paper thin, because they're just for steering, and I don't need anything more than that. And then anyways, you can see we got something of a U-joint. It's not quite a U-joint, but it functions. Why does it look like that? Okay, it functions pretty much the same as a U-joint. As a steering shaft. Hello. Why does it look like that? Uh-oh, did I forget to save? I think I forgot to save. Get up. Uh-oh. That's not good. That just like goes away, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay. Hold on. A quick little fix. Really annoying. How did I do it down here? Yeah, same thing. This is really annoying. It doesn't work perfectly, and the whole steering shaft moves. But anyways, this is gonna be like our steering wheel up here, and it turns this, which turns down here, and it moves the pinion. Now this is another rack and pinion steering. You can watch my rack and pinion car if you want to see more of that. And then boom. So here we have it. You can see the steering. It's kind of not really realistic because in a car, your entire steering shaft would not turn on an axis, but I need to make that better. I'll work on that in the future. It doesn't really, yeah, that doesn't do anything, to be honest. Doesn't do much. It does work a little bit, but I need another one on a different axis. Anyways, so that works, and it's nice and buggy, you know, just like everything else in this game. Anyways, let's see everything in action. So this is actually third gear, so I need to move all the gears in order for it to work. And again, this is Roblox, so everything just kind of works. Sorry, I had to turn on the engine to get it to work. So anyways, now this is first gear. So if you can see in the bottom right, we have a speedometer kind of thing, and we are going, let me get in a straight line. we're going about 17 blocks per second, right? So this is first gear. And then we can switch into our second gear. Now we're going 34. And again, my third gear doesn't have, like, I don't have enough torque going into the third gear to actually have it do anything useful. But this is our third gear, so we're only going like 28 blocks per second. And it's also just really buggy, so that does not help. Boom. Whee! So yeah, there's everything. And then we're turning, you can see the differential work. It's so freaking cool that all these gears, they mesh together and they actually work. It's so cool. Anyways, back in the first gear, you can see the differential spin. And it's not escaping its little prison cell. And then, woo, rack and pinion steering. Helps us get around. And then let's do a little, not off-roading. This thing, it doesn't have suspension, and I don't think I ever will be able to put suspension on it, just because of how messed up everything is. I can't do U-joints well enough to put that on a, like put suspension on the back of the wheels. But anyways, so this is first gear. Let's see how well we can climb this hill. It's struggling. It's definitely struggling, but it made it up. And that was first gear. Now let's demonstrate how it performs in second gear. Let's put this in second gear, speed it up. That's first gear. Alright, second gear. Let's see if this thing can get up the hill at all. Might actually do better. It performs about the same. There's more problems with traction and the differential slipping than anything. And also, second gear, it has a 1-to-1 ratio, so it's not buggy at all. This guy's coming over here to check out my thingy-mabobber. Anyways, yeah, that is everything. There's no reverse gear. It just reverses by reversing the entire engine, which I don't know if you noticed, but that's not very realistic. Oh, see? Boom! My differential just escaped. Look, it's just gone. It just does that sometimes. I don't know why. It just likes to run away from me. I'll go do a little bit of off-roading now in second gear. It's actually kind of moving. This thing is pretty fast. It's doing pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. This is doing better than I expected, especially for off-road. No suspension. The wheels themselves are kind of suspension because they're not like locked in place very well. So everything is pretty free to move. We're doing pretty good. This thing is handling the open road, if you can call it a road. I'm probably going to move everything. I'm probably going to make it a little bit more compact. I could. Everything's really spaced out, so I could work on it really well. Let's try and get over here. I'm going to go over this bridge. Now I'm just admiring my own work. I'm sorry, but this thing is so super duper cool. I think I might try and get third gear to work too, because this is stupid. It should be working. It takes away from the glory of it. Like, it's a 2-speed transmission. That's not very cool. Yes, sir. I think it's just because they mesh better in general. They mesh a lot more perfectly. And then, like, it's a lot harder for the teeth to fit in on this tiny little gear. Oh my gosh, it's really hard to drive legally with this thing. Doing a little bit more off-roading. You can see how slow first gear is. Oh, okay, my pinion got stuck. And then second gear. I don't even need like first gear or second gear. I don't need all that to get up to speed. The engine is basically infinitely strong. The problem is I can't make it go. It's not infinitely strong. I shouldn't say that. It's just oh my gosh. See where this thing bottlenecks is all the losses from these gears and such. That's this thing's problem. Oh yeah. It see, the game doesn't like the rotation, so it does stuff like that. If I switch the direction of the input shaft. Yeah, that's my transmission car.